Welcome to the Straight Up, No Bullshit, The Dawn Hanston Show. Our hosts are going to push the limits, but create an environment where it's safe to uncover the crap that holds you back so you can survive the mediocrity of today's life. And they'll be admitting and revealing their own experiences so you can learn the skills and attitude you need to be who you are. No bullshit. Warning to all listeners: if you have thin skin and get offended easily by harsh, direct, or somewhat offensive content and language, then this podcast may be overwhelming. However, we believe pulling your blinders off and viewing things from a real perspective may feel invigorating and may be the very thing that may cause you to expand your capabilities exponentially. Now here's your hosts, Dawn and Marcus.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us today at the Dawn Hanston Straight Up, No Bullshit. This is going to be a great show. Marcus, would you care to start us up?
Yep, absolutely. Welcome, folks. We're glad you're here. And as we were wrapping up from our last podcast, the fires that are going on, it's still raging. And I wanted to bring this clip up from Donald Trump, and he was warning them years ago what's going on. But this is him discussing it right now. So let me pull this up and let me know if you can hear it. Let's see here.
Sal, how are you doing today?
I'm okay. Just battling some of the weather and trying to get by. How about you, buddy?
Yeah, a little bit of snow. What are you going to do this winter?
It's very sad because I've been trying to get Gavin Newsom to allow water to come. You'd have tremendous water up there. They send it out to the Pacific because they're trying to protect a tiny little fish, which is in other areas, by the way. It's called the smelt. And for the sake of the smelt, they have no water. They had no water in the fire hydrants today in Los Angeles. It was a terrible thing. And we're going to get that done. It's going to finally be done. I got it done from the federal side, and he didn't want to sign it, but it's not going to happen again like that. There's no reason. Can you imagine? You have farmers that don't have any water in California. They have plenty of water. They don't have a drought. They send it out to the Pacific, and it's crazy. So what's happening in California is a true tragedy. I know those areas very well. I have many friends living in those houses. That is a true tragedy. Nobody ever done. I mean, virtually Beverly Hills and areas around Beverly Hills are being decimated. The biggest homes, some of the most valuable homes in the world are just destroyed. I don't even know, you talk about a tax base. If those people leave, you lose half your tax base of California. This is a true tragedy, and it's a mistake of the governor, and you could say the administration. They don't have any water. They didn't have water in the fire hydrant. They don't have water, and yet they have it. The water comes from, where? Up north, and it comes down at levels. They get millions and millions of barrels of gallons of water that they have, and they send it out into the Pacific. For the Pacific, it's like a drop, it's nothing. But for California, we take care of the whole state. So what's happened is a tragedy, and the governor has not done a good job. With that being said, I got along well with him. When he was governor, we worked together very well, and we would work together. I guess it looks like we're going to be the one having to rebuild it. But what happened there, I don't think there's anything that I've ever seen quite like it. And the insurance companies are going to have a big problem. Because you're talking about big dollars.
Yep, big dollars, and they got their hands their hands full. And what was really cool is Trump called it out back in 2018, calling Newsom out on clean up this brush. There's absolutely no reason for it. And what I loved about it, and I don't know if our listeners saw this, but there was a lady in California that actually was confronted Newsom. So let's show everyone the clip. And we can finish up this segment and move on. So here we go.
The problem with this whole thing is it could have been avoided, and the insurance company, we're going to have to pay higher rates. Everyone.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Just like they did in Florida.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
719 Island Street, gone. It's been home her whole life, but she barely recognizes it.
Apocalypse.
Around every corner, almost complete destruction.
This was a little cooking store thing. This is a parking lot for a center.
Firefighting planes bringing water from the ocean to tackle the blazes still raging in all parts of this city. Growing too is anger at a perceived lack of preparedness by authorities.
We shouldn't be saying this. We should. This is where people need to wake up. Because if you're voting and you're picking people for softness or for the fuzzy feeling you got because they seem like they're good people, I want to know that we're going to have someone in charge.
Then Rachel spots a face she recognises.
Is that Gavin Newsom? That's the governor. That's the governor. Governor, I live here, governor. That was my daughter's school, governor. Please tell me what you're going to do. I'm not going to hurt him, I promise.
I'm literally talking to the president right now to specifically answer the question of what we can do for you and your daughter.
Can I hear it? Can I hear your call? Because I don't believe it.
California Governor Gavin Newsom is being criticised by some for water mismanagement as hydrants ran dry while fires multiplied.
So I have to get cell service.
So let's get it. Let's get it. I want to be here when you call the president.
I appreciate it. I'm doing that right now. And it's to immediately get reimbursements, individual assistance, and to help you. I'm devastated. I'm so sorry, especially for your daughter. I have 4 kids. Losing
Everyone who went to school there, they lost their homes. They lost 2 homes because they were living in one building another. Governor, please tell me, what are you going to do with the president right now?
We're getting the resources to help rebuild.
Why was there no water in the hydrants, Governor?
That's all literally.
Is it going to be different next time?
It has to be. Has to be. Of course.
What are you going to do?
I'm doing
To fill the hydrants. I would fill them up personally. You know that.
I literally have.
I would fill up the hydrants myself.
I understand.
But would you do that?
I would do whatever I can.
But you're not. I see do you know there's water dripping over there, Governor? There's water coming out there. You can use it.
Diminishing winds are bringing some respite for firefighters, but it's likely to be brief. As estimated losses surge, there is still zero containment of this fire.
Yep. I mean,
there were scenes of firemen actually using women's handbags to fill up with water to throw on fires.
Right.
This morning. That's how bad it is.
It's crazy. And she was calling him. First he lies to her. Oh, I'm talking to the president. Okay, let me put him on speaker. Oh, well, I don't have a cell signal. You're a fucking liar.
That's a prerequisite to be a politician these days. You have to lie. I mean, if you tell the truth, you're out. That's why they don't want Trump.
I like the bodyguard stepping in there, and she's like, I'm not going to hurt him, I promise.
Right.
Exactly. A little fruitcake's afraid. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Anyways,
and I mean, she's like, listen, I'll fill up the hydrant. Why do we have no water? I mean, this is a serious problem. And like Sal, you were talking about over and over again, this happens every fucking year.
Yeah.
And yet we got to protect the little squirrels and not clean up the brush and whatever. It's insane.
I don't understand. They even had a report this morning that one of the helicopters was struck by a drone.
Really?
So they put out warnings, and again, nobody to fly their drones over this area because a helicopter got hit by someone's drone.
Right.
I mean, it's like a war zone over there. Like they said, that whole town, Palisades, it's just evaporated. It's vaporized. It's gone.
Well,
that's what it is.
You know, my concern, we're here, we're in Illinois, okay? Even though I don't believe that it's truly a blue state, whatever, okay? But we're not as liberal as California, but with the governor, the mayor of the city, I have a feeling this shit's coming our way. I don't know what they're gonna do, throw tornadoes at us. But the bottom line is, when we vote, when whoever's voting these people in, okay, and we live in these states and we don't want all of this shit, we have to be careful. Is this really where we want to live? You know? And I mean, I don't know. I mean, we live in Illinois. I'll be honest with you. I can't wait to get the hell out of here, just because I think shit's going to hit the fan.
Are you kidding me? Trump's already got a plan to come to have a little sit down with Mr. Pritzker, you know. So the shit's. I'm telling you, the shit is gonna get real, and these woke motherfuckers are in for they're in for a coming to Jesus meeting with the president and his team, because they are proving to themselves they're not the typical politicians that we talk about. They are statesmen. They are what the Constitution and our founding fathers originally created was that you didn't quit your job and become a politician. You had your you had your company, you had your business, you know what, and then you served. You served. It was a public service to serve the people and to act as president, vice president, all the different things that you had to do in the government. And you were a statesman. You took care of for the people, by the people, of the people. And guess what? We're coming back to that, and that's what I love the most.
You know, you're absolutely right. I was involved in the Chamber of Commerce in a smaller town, well established. I'm not going to give a name, and the governor, or I'm sorry, the mayor. Okay, the pay for the mayor was like $22,000 a year. You're not living on that, right? You probably make more than that at Wendy's, right? Or
now
McDonald's.
You can.
At where? But the moral to the story is, like you said, it's a public service job, right?
Right.
Now I understand that being a mayor of a town of 75,000 people it's a stepping stone, but that's really how politics is supposed to work. They're not supposed to get the job and within 2 years they're multi-millionaires. I mean, obviously they're stealing and they're crooked. You don't create wealth by holding a position unless you're stealing.
Correct, absolutely. And the crazy thing about it is that they're being called to task. And speaking of mayor, let's hear from the mayor. We referenced this yesterday. Now we can show you the clip. Let me show you what the mayor of Los Angeles has to say and how stupid she really is.
Food, water, medicine, a bag packed and ready. Again, this is an active situation. And conserve water to the extent that you can. We want to make sure that we are ready if we need more water. But make no mistake, Los Angeles will rebuild stronger than ever. Right now, if you need help, emergency information, resources, and shelter is available. All of this can be found at URL. Los Angeles, together is how we will get through this. Through the heroism of our firefighters, the vigilance of Angelenos, and the spirit of our city. This is a big moment. It is a big moment for all of us to come together, for Angelenos to be united.
A big moment. She sounds like she's talking about, we're getting ready to, open up the Olympics. It's a big moment. Are you out of your fucking mind?
How are you supposed to conserve water if you don't have water in the first place?
Don't drink it. Don't flush the toilet. Dehydrate yourself. I mean, you guys are talking about this. Guys are filling up purses with water to throw on the fire. First off, like I talked about in our last show, that to get that stuff to burn, that's not even near the woods because the flash point's so hot or whatever. I don't believe any of this, but whatever. If it's that hot, a purse full of water is going to evaporate before it even hits whatever's burning. So you're wasting your time.
Well, I think they're desperate. That's why.
Right.
I mean, how many times have you seen these clips and thought, Jesus, if that was me, I'd at least want to be out there with my hose, which is not going to do anything, but that's the only thing you can think of.
At least you feel like you're doing something.
There was one guy taking buckets out of his pool and throwing it on his property.
Right.
I mean, yeah, it's probably not going to do anything with the heat and the embers. I talked to someone this morning that has friends that live out there, and they said just embers are flying everywhere. I mean, they land on your house. It's done. It's so dry there. But, filling up buckets of water are not going to do anything. But in your mind, you have to do something.
There is something that you can do. I was actually in a bushfire in Australia, and it's very common there because, you basically have the major cities basically surround the coast, and then all up in that is basically the bush. And there was a bushfire when we were there. And the thing we were doing is we were jumping literally on the roof with a hose, spraying it down and plugging up the downspouts so that the water would fill around the downspouts. And just literally the fire was 2 blocks away. I mean, it was insane. But those are things that can be done to try to mitigate and protect what's there, so that if the embers do fall on there, there is some, they hopefully get wet and doused, or at least they can't ignite. So that's a little tidbit for something. I mean, I know that tip's probably a day late and dollar short, but it is something that can be done. Now, Sal, you were talking about some people that were actually starting fires intentionally.
Yeah, there was a gentleman riding his bike through one of the neighborhoods this morning, and he had a little torch on him, and he was lighting people's Christmas trees that were thrown at the curb. And the citizens seen him. They all grabbed him. They tied him up with some cables and waited for the police to come and get him.
He's lucky he didn't get pummeled.
Oh,
You know,
it's like he didn't get thrown into something.
You
But
turned him into the
Unbelievable.
cable guy, huh?
wait till these people see the process. I went through and watched what the process is to get a permit in LA to build or remodel. It'll probably cost them people up to $25,000 in fees just to get the permits. And it could take up to a year. Wait till these people try to even get someone to build their house. And then when they have to jump through all these hoops to try to build and the fees they have to pay, this is going to be even more so a disaster for those residents.
Well, an aunt of mine in the nearby suburb, her house burnt down, and I'm pretty sure it was a surge from comment. Okay, but the first thing that the fire department does is they have the gas people and the electric people shut everything down. Well, this house burnt down about a year and a half ago. They have been fighting back and forth with permits and all this stuff with the city and with the insurance company. Now, they're about ready to start this thing. It's probably going to take them a good year to rebuild this whole house. That's 2.5 years.
Lost.
Yeah, what are these people going to do?
Yeah.
They're going to have to pack up what little they have in the car and get out. And now they're fighting the looters. There was 20 people arrested last night for looting. I mean, it's brutal. It's terrible out
Absolute
there.
insanity.
I
Well, that's
think
what
a lot
happens
of
when
people are
there's
gonna leave.
no people aren't held accountable. You're not
Right.
held accountable. Thank God they changed the law where it's back to being a felony for stealing over $1,000. So there was this. I don't know if you saw the one clip of the lady. She's like, "What do you mean I'm being arrested?" She was literally, they tracked her from store to store, and once it added up over 1,000, they fucking came in and picked her up, and sayonara.
They had it free to go steal up to $1,000 some dollars. And
right.
I remember when I started working, it was a misdemeanor up until 100. Once you went over 150, then it was a felony.
Right.
So we had a lot of people going out stealing $100 worth of stuff, knowing that they'd get a court date, and it's just a misdemeanor.
Right.
Or you tell them you thought it was the dollar store you were stealing from, right? But I'll tell you, aside from the accountability, honestly, it's really this simple. Think before you vote. Think before you vote. Yep. If these are the people that you want, I know I sound like I got no empathy, but if these are the people that you want, this is what you get.
Right.
It sounds bad because I know that let's say there's a square block, and let's just say even 90% of them voted for these knuckleheads, right? There's still 10% in there that say this is ridiculous, and they still got burnt out. So they didn't vote that way, and they still got trimmed,
Right.
Remember what I said yesterday, elections have consequences, and I think people are starting to figure that out now.
They're waking up. A lot of them are waking up. They're going, holy shit. Well, because because sometimes you don't have contrast. If you think about it, this whole woke shit's been slowly oozing since actually the late I'm gonna say 2008, 2009, and it's slowly gotten ramped up. And obviously, COVID. I mean, it went logarithmic. So it's that whole analogy. If you throw a frog into a boiling water, it'll jump out to save itself. But you put it in water and slowly turn up the heat and let it boil. It'll boil itself to death. And that's what they've done to people. And now that they're seeing the contrast of what things can be and how good it can be, I think a lot more people are going to be waking up. And going back to what you were saying with the fees and so forth for rebuilding, I hope Trump comes in there and tells the governor Newsom, sorry, you're waiving all city fees. And you're going to, maybe $100 or whatever for administration
I don't know what
costs.
he could do.
What could possibly cost $25,000 to get a goddamn permit to build something, to rebuild your house?
You should see the breakdowns. Bullshit. You should see the breakdowns. 3,000, 4,000 here, 6,000 here.
That is criminal. That's extortion. That is extortion.
You're absolutely right. It's just another way of stealing. So if you look at like these payouts, right, where these whether it's a city, a state, whatever, where they get the reliefs, okay, that when it actually gets to the people that actually deserve it, it's hard for them to even recover their loss because between the fees, the upcharges, all the different ways that these bureaucrats steal the money before it gets to the person that actually needs it. Like,
Right.
I don't believe that the people in North Carolina, is it North
North
Carolina?
Carolina. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe that they only got $750. I believe that by the time the money got to them, it was $750. But I bet you it was a heck of a lot more. And by the time it moved through all these different people's hands with their fees and their upcharges and all their skimming, that maybe at the end result was they got $750.
I don't even think a lot of them got the 750. Honestly,
no, I don't think so. I don't think so.
But anyways,
FEMA was out of money.
Well,
because they spent all the money taking care of the illegals.
Well, that's
let's not go down that road again.
That's exactly what it was. FEMA was the middleman. FEMA was the one that was soaking the money out. We all think that these government organizations are there for our benefit. They're not. They're there for their benefit. And don't kid yourself. So if you're in charge of a bunch of money, guess what? It's kind of like when you donate, right? When you donate to these different things. And then when you research the thing that you donated to, sometimes you realize that only like 2 cents out of $1 actually went to that person, feed a starving kid in Africa or whatever it is.
Yep.
And you find out how little money goes to them, and all the money goes to these other people that are becoming rich. And it's sickening.
Well, it's funny you say that, because it is so true. So much, donating money to, cancer research and this and that. You think you're doing a good thing, but really how much money is getting there. I was watching PDB guys yesterday. And what was kind of cool is that they were basically, obviously they have a merch store and they're selling their hats and whatnot, but they're like 100%, not just the profits, 100% of the revenue coming in we're donating it. We hope to write a $250,000, or no, I think it was $250,000 check. But they said, call us, reach out to us, let us know if we're not donating it to some charity that's gonna take money and pay their executives. We want to give it directly to the people. So if you have someone that's been hurt or displaced or your house, reach out to us, and we want to help take care of you. That's how it should be.
You
that's
have
awesome.
To donate to the American Red Cross, not the Red Cross, the American Red Cross, because there was a lot of corruption found in the International Red Cross. So it has to be the American Red Cross. But I agree with what you're saying. Yeah, that whole American Red Cross started after Katrina. It was a disaster. People were donating and none of the money was coming through. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a positive thing. And so we're going to shift right into gears here now, because, we want to spotlight on things that are challenging and exposing the lies and the truth and the bullshit that's going on there. But we also want to spotlight the good things that are happening in the world right now. So right now, one of the first things is, I don't know if you saw that Meta disbanded diversity team and says DEI has become charged. And so not only have they come back and said, we're bringing free speech back to the platform, and they're getting community checks like what X is doing, that they're basically disbanding their diversity, equity, and inclusion team and getting rid of that altogether. And I think that's another great step that shows that, Zuckerberg's come around. What do you think?
Yeah, I seen that. That was actually on my list too. I was actually a little surprised, and I had just seen that headline right before we went on the air. So you're right. Zuckerberg is going. I mean, he is changing quite a bit. A lot of them are.
Yeah.
But, this would have never been happening if Harris won, though.
Oh, correct. No,
that's the thing. They're worried. You know that, Marcus. All these big shots, they're worried now. They want to be on the right side. And I don't mean right side. I mean the correct side. Because they don't want to tick off the administration that we have in there now. So that's why they're all doing it. But there's still a bunch that are steadfast and sticking with it. And I think those companies and those people are going to hurt. But,
we talked about Costco. I mean, they doubled down on their DEI bullshit, and you know what? I'll never join a membership there ever again. So
you know what's funny? I know we're supposed to be going to the positive side of things. What I've seen though, is ever since Costco was busted by supporting this woke agenda, and it was brought to everyone's attention, whether it was social media or whatever else, all of a sudden I started noticing that there was tons of different claims and videos of tainted products from Costco. So what I think had happened is, I think that the left, they invented this cancel culture thing, right? And I think it's backfired on them, because now Costco comes out and they say, hey, we're supporting this, that, or another. We're going to give money to whatever they're doing. And the right finds out about it. Okay. Now I think the right is coming out because a lot of the stuff is on X, a lot of these free speech platforms.
Right.
And they're showing like Costco, I think it was salmon, and it was videotaping it, and with the sticker on there with worms in there. There was I'm not making it up. There was all kinds of different stuff. There was some of their knits had bugs inside them that you brought them in your house, and then you infest your house. There was all kinds of stuff, and I thought to myself, I'm like, you know what? This cancel culture that the left invented has now come full circle. You know how I always say it's a two-way communication. Everything you put out, it comes right back at you. I think that's what's happening right now. So I think, because I buy a ton of stuff at Costco, we spend a lot of money there. Okay.
Right.
Now, I believe that they do have premium products. Is it possible that they have tainted stuff? Absolutely. Is it possible that maybe some of the suppliers that don't believe in the woke culture that they support taint these products? It's possible. See, you don't know if it's true, if it's not true, or there's somebody that's setting them up.
Right.
So that's what's interesting, I think, on any side of it, is
Sure.
I think sometimes it's actual, right? And sometimes it's not, it's a lie. And other times it's actual, but it's somebody behind the scenes setting up you for failure, because it's not very hard to do these days.
Oh, sabotage is always there.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Without a doubt.
yeah.
Without a, and I would go one step further and say it's what I would say the America First people and patriots are doing. They're not, it's not canceling. They're not canceling anybody. They're voting with their dollars. They're saying, you know what? I'm not going to buy that product anymore. I'm not going to cancel you. They're not going to shame them. But guess what? I'm done with you. And guess what? That's when change happens in this country. It doesn't happen going and protesting here and there and destroying cities and all this bullshit. No, it's when you vote with your dollars, or you vote or you don't vote with those dollars. That is when change happens.
Absolutely.
I really believe that.
I agree with you. So if we want things to change, we have to think about who it is that we're doing business with, why we're doing business, and are they supporting things that we believe in? That's all.
Correct.
It's really simple. I think people just make it way too difficult,
Oh, of course. I mean, the society makes things life too difficult.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Sal, I know you had some things you wanted to share. What's positive on your list?
Well, what's positive is it's finally finished. It's finally done.
Yes.
The whole Trump sentencing BS.
Oh, yes.
It's finally finished. I was watching that today. No cameras were allowed in the courtroom, but I was able to listen to the full audio speech of the judge. And he basically said, you don't have any right to be immunity from this because you weren't the president. But it's over. It was unconditional sentencing where it's done, but he is sentenced. Now, I know we talked yesterday that the Supreme Court denied his request to delay the sentencing, and it failed 5-4. But what I found out this morning is that the Supreme Court is really not supposed to intervene at this stage in a proceeding. They have to wait till he files the appeal. It goes all the way through. And then if it gets denied, it goes to the High Court of New York, the High Court State of Appeals. And then if it doesn't get appealed or turned over, then he can request it go to the Supreme Court. So it's not that the Supreme Court said, screw you, it's done. They're just basically saying we can't intervene at this point. They have to wait till all the avenues are exhausted, then they can get involved. And I truly think if it gets that far, that this case is going to be appealed because there's just no evidence. And the other thing is there's no victim. There is absolutely no victim in this. Correct. So I think it will be appealed, and I think it will be overturned. But for right now, the left is having a grand old time calling him a convicted felon who's going to be president in 9 or 10 days. So at least we're finally done with that.
I had heard that they had basically there was a word they used. I'm trying to find the word where they basically he was getting no jail time, none of that stuff. But basically he wasn't pardoned, but it was basically uncontested or something of that.
It's an unconditional sentencing.
Unconditional, yes.
Because a judge will usually, if he's not going to impose jail time, which he already said a couple weeks ago, he's not going to impose jail time. A lot of times a judge will give you a conditional sentence saying that, okay, if you agree to pay restitution to the victim, or you agree to not come back ever to this property, your case will be finished. You're done. There's no jail time. That's a conditional
Okay.
sentence. But he gave him an unconditional, meaning there's nothing he could do to rectify this other than appeal. It's done. He's sentenced. There's no jail time. He's a convicted felon now, because he wasn't a convicted felon until this morning, despite what a lot of people were saying on Facebook.
Right, correct.
He was not convicted. So that's the term. It was an unconditional sentencing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm just reading here. Right?
We got to get some straight up no bullshit T-shirts made that says I voted for the felon, the convicted felon. We got to get those.
Well, yeah, those will work now, but they wouldn't work before, because I had many disagreements with friends of mine who are attorneys, and I said, no, you look up.
He wasn't convicted. He was
New
not
York
convicted.
sentencing. Now, in other states, yes, once the jury comes back, it's a sentence. You're convicted. But in New York, they consider it a finding. So, yeah, those shirts would work now, but I don't think it's going to last. You're hearing it here. I really
it says
don't think it's
it
gonna
says
last.
right here, Trump's sentencing allows him to appeal the conviction, and he has 30 days to file a notice of appeal in the New York State court system. He plans to argue that his conviction should be dismissed due to his November presidential election victory, and that the entire case was politically motivated.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, you have the judge's daughter made millions on this.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, the whole case is terrible. In the eye of a law scholar, it is. So I don't see any reason why this wouldn't be overturned. And if the High Court of Appeals in New York doesn't do it, I'm pretty sure the Supreme Court's going to do it. But they just couldn't make that ruling today or yesterday, in a sense, 5-4. So I think they will end up seeing that. But he's definitely appealing this. You know, honestly, it doesn't really mean anything. What he's going to have a conviction on his record if it fails? Big deal.
Right.
He ain't like he's going to put in for a job application when he's done and not get
At
hired.
McDonald's, I think they already hired him.
Well, he was doing pretty good there.
He did good, yeah.
You know, he did better than Kamala. She never even got the job in the first place.
Exactly, but she made it up.
Yeah,
in her imagination. She's got good imagination.
Yeah, what's interesting about what you said, Sal, was you're talking about the judge's daughter that made all that money, and I read about that. I mean, honestly, they're doing everything they can to beat Trump down, but by your own family making money because of a bogus conviction or a bogus case, I think they should go to jail. I mean,
they should.
It's nonsense.
Now, just picture if this was reversed, Marcus. Picture if this was reversed. If this was happening to, say, I don't know,
Newsom,
Schiff, Newsom, anybody. Can you imagine the left if they found out the judge in the case who, I mean, first of all, the judge...
Oh, they would be up in arms.
Put a gag order on the president of the United States. His own president couldn't talk. But yet, if you think about it, Stormy Daniels, that other girl, everybody was allowed to go in the media and talk about it on their social media accounts. The president was not allowed to talk about anything, which is was terrible. Can you imagine if it was
that's
reversed?
a kangaroo court. It was a kangaroo court. They all know it. Yeah. And this is their way of maybe saving face. But guess what? Cash is going to come in there, man. They're going to clean some shit up. I like I said, I can't wait. January 20th cannot get here fast enough.
It's going to be something, but they have a small victory today, the Democrats, and they're beating their chest. And
of course,
they think, well, we got him convicted, but just wait till it gets overturned, and then we'll see what happens. And they're going to look foolish. And the amount of money that they spent on these trials is crazy.
It's criminal. It's truly criminal. It
definitely.
Really is.
I mean, that money could have went to help anybody, but you know how the Dems are with
maybe
money.
Help put some water in the fire hydrants in L.A.
Well, we have to save the smelts.
Not to switch gears, but when Trump was talking, I mean, that guy just makes loads of sense. Nothing but logic. When he had mentioned about the most beautiful real estate in the United States had melted, right?
Yeah.
And if those people move out, okay, the tax base of that state is going to go down. All they're going to have is illegal immigrants and people that live in the street. What are they going to do? I mean, like, he's so spot on with what he's not looking at, all right, the fire, this is, he's like, insurance companies are going to have a real problem, which means all our insurance is going to go up. Everyone's insurance is going to go up. Those taxpayers leave, and all of a sudden, what are they going to do? Build shelter for migrants because they want them? I mean, it's all like, he makes so much sense, yet these other people are so illogical. I don't understand how people don't see that contrast. I don't get it.
I don't know. I can't. I've thought about this many times, and we talked about it a couple months ago, where I don't understand how someone could look at Harris, listen to one of her speeches. Oh, the dirty look she was giving Obama yesterday when Obama was laughing and joking with Trump. That was priceless. She turned around and shot a dirty look to them. But I don't understand how people could listen to her and say, yep, that's the one. She makes sense. She's the best for the country. Did
you look at what they all looked like when they were at Carter's funeral? They're all sitting there.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah. Jill. I mean, oh my God, if looks could kill, I mean, unbelievable.
But the best was Mike Pence's wife, Karen Pence. Go figure the first name. She had a look on her face that was just mean. She was ticked off. But then when Harris turned around and she spotted Obama and Trump laughing and joking, she had a look on her face. You could tell right away she was ticked off. She grabbed the program, started opening it, and she was just ticked off. So, and then they asked Trump about it. He goes, we disagree, but we got along. Right. He says, we got along. We just our philosophies are different, which, is the right thing to say.
And I love it because 8 years ago, his comments would have been totally different. He truly has stepped up. He's grown as a person, and he's truly become a statesman and understands how to. That the diplomacy that I always wished he had, he's finally gotten there, and my hat's off to him for doing that.
I hope so.
Yeah. Speaking of Trump, I don't know if you heard this. He is he's working on arranging a meeting with Putin. So he's they've been putting things in place to get the meeting is going, so that hopefully they can get a resolution and get this whole Ukraine conflict basically taken care of. I guess. Let's see here.
Well, the Kremlin put out a statement today that Putin is ready to talk to Trump about things.
Right. Yep.
That was the official statement out of the Kremlin today. So, which we kind of figured would be coming anyways.
Right.
It seems like everybody's ready to talk to Trump. So,
well, except for Venezuela, Trump issues a warning to Maduro as Venezuelan leader enters third term. U.S. expands sanctions. So. It says President-elect Donald Trump warned Nicolas Maduro ahead of his contested inauguration in the third term, which is set to last until 2031. I mean, it's unbelievable how long these crazy corrupt leaders are out there. Opposition leader Maria Corina Machado, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, joined protests against Maduro, demanding the swearing in of opposition candidates Edmundo Gonzalez. So there's shit going on everywhere, and Trump's doing everything he can to rectify as much of it as possible.
Well, he's putting America first, which is
correct.
What everybody likes to hear. I know they even said that China now is going to send a high-ranking official to the inauguration. Like
really?
President Xi or whatever the heck his name is not going to make it. But China said that a high-ranking official is going to attend the inauguration. So that's a good thing. I think that sends a message, too. We shall see, but I don't know.
I mean, if they really wanted to mend fences, not that they should, because China's fucking corrupt as all get out, maybe the full leader should have been there.
Well, I think
Xi Jinping.
I think he should have been too, but I think what they were saying in the beginning is that it wouldn't be safe for him. How, I don't know, but I think that's what China was originally saying. It wouldn't be a secure move for him, but I think by him sending someone from his, I don't know, entourage, cabinet, whatever they call it in China, someone there. At least it sends a message to Trump like, thank you for the invitation. I am sending somebody to be there for your event. So I think
Right.
it's a positive.
Yeah. No, that's good. Absolutely. But at least it's not a no-show. So they're showing some respect.
Those were just some of the highlights out of this morning that I found. That's it. I'm sure
Got
a
it.
lot more
I love
are
it.
coming, but
Yeah. Well, one last one. Musk, basically T-Mobile and SpaceX announced Starlink coverage for those in need, enabling wireless emergency alerts and SMS texting during the crisis in California. So that was pretty cool.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
That's great.
So Musk says SpaceX will provide free Starlink terminals in areas hit by LA wildfires.
So they will have access to the URL.
Exactly. The URL. Well, it's been a great show. We covered a lot. Don, do you have any more thing you want to share?
No. I just hope. I just hope and I pray, but I really believe that we're going to have nothing but good things ahead of us. And I feel the economy. I feel the vibration on the economies is getting where it needs to be. I think people are going to feel a little confidence or spending that money. I think life's going to get a lot better for a lot of people. And I think a lot of people have been depressed, and I think a lot of people are going to start coming out of that when they start seeing these good things. So,
we will be there for all of it.
Yes,
we will.
So all we do is we wish the best for everyone, our listeners, everyone, and until next time.
Subscribe.
But yeah, please subscribe, and you know what? If you like what you heard here, go to our website URL.
Perfect.
In other words, straightupnobullshit.com. But honestly, listen, share this with everybody. And, again, we're entering the golden age. I really do believe that as well, Don. And, the future looks bright, and it's only getting better from here, which is what it's all about. So until next time, we'll see you on Straight Up No Bullshit. Cheers, everyone.
Bye.
Hold on.
Thank you for tuning in to the Straight Up No Bullshit, the Dawn Hanston Show. We hope we enlightened you and expanded your perspectives with our bold and honest discussions about what might be holding you back from being your genuine self. And with a simple click to subscribe, we'll invite you back to the next episode. If you want to know more, go to straightupnobullshit.com. We'll see you next time.